Hello, hello, and welcome to the New Haven Pride Center's first ever Women Queer Out the Vote event. I'm Miranda. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm the Women's Program Officer at the New Haven Pride Center. And I'm excited to have you join me for amazing speeches from our special guests, in addition to music and poetry performed by local queer women artists. This event is co-sponsored by CT Humanities and in partnership with the International Festival of Arts and Ideas. We'd like to take a moment to say that although we have some amazing candidates for office joining us tonight, their presence here does not represent an endorsement from the New Haven Pride Center. Rather, we support all LGBTQ+ folks, especially women and people of color, as they pursue elected representation in government. Before we dive in, we'd like to acknowledge the land we are hosting this on. The International Festival of Arts and Ideas and the New Haven Pride Center were founded and operated on the traditional lands of the Mohegan, Mashantucket Pequot, Eastern Pequot, Scottycook, Golden Hill, Powgusset, Neantic, and the Quinnipiac, and the land we all call home, Connecticut. We hope that wherever you are, you take a moment to acknowledge and honor the Native people whose lands you're on and the history of the place you're in. And you can find out more about the Native land near you at the following website. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to Shelley, the Executive Director of Arts and Ideas.
Thank you, Miranda. And hi, everybody. I'm Shelley Kiala, and I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Executive Director of the International Festival of Arts and Ideas. I'd like to add to the land acknowledgement by saying that the International Festival of Arts and Ideas and the New Haven Pride Center stand with Black Lives Matter and with countless citizens in our own city and across the country who are exercising their right to protest systemic racism at the root of police violence. The festival and NHPC stand in solidarity with Black and Brown communities who are targeted and abused by unjust systems of oppression. Tonight is the second in a series of collaborations and co-presentations that the festival is presenting as a celebration of civic engagement. It's called a series called Beyond the Vote, and it's really about celebrating not only the spirit that brings us to the polls and to the ballot box, but also the spirit that it takes year-round, all the time, to be engaging in discourse, to be using our voices, to be using our artistic gifts to speak the stories that only we can speak. And so it's with great pleasure that I'm here representing the festival in partnership with an organization that believes those same things, that believes in the uniqueness of each vote and each voice, and that supports the right to exercise the freedoms to express those things. I'm voting this year. I actually did vote already. I'm voting this year because it's too important not to. I vote every year because it's too important not to. And I don't stop there. I also speak out. I also listen. And I also engage in conversation and express myself through my art in ways that are important to me and that can illuminate issues for the community. So thank you so much for having me here. And I look forward to enjoying the program tonight.
Thank you so much, Shelley. As Shelley said, it is so important to make sure that everyone's unique vote is expressed and that their political views are expressed. Women's communities and queer communities across the country are so underrepresented in our political system. And while voting doesn't solve anything, it is an important part of how we're going to fix our problems in this country. And we're so excited for this partnership and to be hosting this event tonight. I'm thrilled to now introduce, then, Versatile Poetiq to kick off our event with a spoken word poem. Versatile is a longtime friend of the New Haven Pride Center and an inspiring badass queer woman in her own right. So let's give a warm welcome to Versatile.
Hi, everybody. I hope you all are well. Happy Friday, TGIF. Yay, we're here. I have a quick poem. Let's see if I can get through it. It's called Black White. I haven't done this in a while. But I'll give you what I can if that's okay. And shout out to the Women Queer Out the Vote movement. It's important. And shout out to the New Haven Pride Center. And shout out to the International Festival of Arts and Ideas. Thank you so much. I'm also a member, just real quick, of the KCC, Chamorro's Cultural Corner. We're the only Black LGBTQI center in the state of Connecticut. Check us out. Even check us out tomorrow, 1 to 4, 75 Sterling Street in Hartford. Let's see if we can get it going. Black, white. Black, white. White, black. That's how you act. It's a historical fact. Right, wrong, wrong, right. Chalk lectures the blackboard. Knowledge ignites the candle for history to rewrite the manual. Ebonics wired the curses from society dumping bodies in the black hearse is too deep to reverse. Learn song notes playing until you pale. Melting pot created by white arms holding the hammer. Crystals in the black hands crack the cement in the cell. Darkness buried in the box. Numb from the oxy, picking the cotton. Breathe in the gin. Swallow the jack. Throw the black to stay on track. Test your ability. Hear the possibility. Play the versatility. A black-white commodity. Black bags of hope. Burned in vain. Name calling Cain. Wet out your brain. Agony stains like pain. Wetter than the rain. Blind eyes see the flash of logic. It's symbolic, factual, actual, and usual ways to seize your sense from righteous to one. Black-white, it magnifies poetic. The words are kinetic. Black ashes of truth chipping away your tooth. A colorblind rhyme injected to the thoughts of a colorblind mind. Black ink walking across the white paper, saluting success. White out the black mistakes, enslaving his progress. A colorless world, a colorless rainbow, a colorless disaster. So I speak of holding black white as the story happily ever after. Black cards drawn from bank accounts and the mouths of excuses. White stars talking to the black sky, a white lie of reality. Black-white composition books tracing souls to nationality. White lines sniffed into black holes of fear. Chess game, black-white players, separated segregation. King had dreams of black-white. One congregation. You see, the 60s purchased desegregation and the millennium returned sugar-coated separation. Oreo cookies dipped in milk by innocent kids across the nation. Black, white, reflecting beauty spots on a Dalmatian from 100 to 1. Salt and pepper, push it together. A tasteful melody. Bowls of ecstasy from whips of chocolate, white in the cream. Black, white, trick or treat. Same struggle, everyone trying to eat. Differences drowned in color, tears dried by similarity, principles of a constitution bleeding on the root of morality. White sheets find a coup, scream out, clucks, call your clan superiority. Black Panthers fighting by any. X means the necessary, eerie feelings, writing words, talking talks. From me, a missionary. Black, white, see the light in unity. Resurrect the community. Piece to piece, solve the puzzle, left to right, hip to hop, pitch to black. See the sight, vision the light, and live the life. Peace, black, white. Thank you very much. My name is Versatile Poetiq.
Woo! I wish we could host this live and in person, just so you could hear all of the applause that you should be getting right now. But thank you so much, Versatile, for that.
I'm honored.
It just always speaks to me every time I hear you perform that, and I am absolutely in love with it. So before I let you go, let me ask you, why are you voting in this election cycle?
And this is a specific election cycle question. To make sure we're right, okay. Because I don't like the man in office, to be brutally honest. And no, honestly, because I think it's important to vote. And you know what I was thinking today? There are people who are against voting. But my ancestors were fighting for my right to vote. My woman ancestors fought for my right to vote. So to not vote, to me, is a slap in their face. Whether you agree with what voting can do and what it is, I think that's troubling. So it is your right to vote. I don't like the hate that's been spread, personally, and I think change is necessary, change is needed. So that's why I'm voting in this election.
Absolutely. Amazing. Thank you so much. And the last question that we have for you is, how do you use art to express your political beliefs beyond what we are obviously able to see here? Let's talk about your artistic process and how it relates to your political views.
It's my voice. It's my duty. I feel if you're an artist, it's your voice to be the voice for the voiceless, to act for the actionless. If you have a platform, utilize it. I've been performing spoken word poetry for 10 years. I've been teaching it for 8 years. So I don't even know if I would be able to not use my voice. Somebody would be calling, but versus that, what's going on? Utilize your voice and your platform if you haven't. And personally, I hate politics. I don't like politics personally. And, that's just my personal opinion. But at the same time, politics is where we are in the world. They make the world go around. It's important. So this is why I'm here, and it's important to utilize it. And I shout again, people, please tell your story. People should have behaved better.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
Everyone's a villain in someone else's story. That we have to, you get what I'm saying? Everyone wants to, you point a finger. So I can talk about Agent Orange all I want. But there's people out there who could talk about me too, to be fair. Okay? Just, as much as I don't like the things that he's done, there's things I haven't done nicely that people could say too. So it's perspective, people. Perspective. But don't preach hate. Do your thing. If you want to be in the KKK, I don't like you. But if you're in the corner and you're not killing people, that's your business. Okay, I don't like what you're preaching, but I'm not going to go shoot and kill you. You get what I'm saying? But because you don't like it's not a terrorist program, like movement. Are you kidding me? You see? Don't kill me. Don't shoot me because you don't like me or what I stand for. Just let me live. Ignore me.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for all of that, powerful sentiment. And everyone who is cheering for Tell right now, you're in luck because there is one more poem at the very end of this. So you'll have to watch all of these amazing speeches and me boring you to death with voter information, and then you'll get another amazing poem by Versatile at the end of this.
Please vote. It's important.
Definitely go out and vote. Well, thank you so much, Versatile. So absolutely. As said, voting isn't going to solve all of our problems, but it's a crucial way of making our voices heard. Only half of all LGBTQ Americans consistently vote in elections. And so while we're getting close to Election Day, there's still time to register to vote. You can register online or print your registration form using the following link. And the deadline for Connecticut is October 27th. So you have some time to get your registration in before Election Day. So there's still time. So if you've been on the fence, if you haven't believed that voting is for you, there's still time to go out and vote. Please keep watching for more information on how to vote in this election cycle, making your voting plan, getting out to vote by absentee ballot or in person, because we have all of that information for you. So thanks again to Versatile. And I'm now honored to introduce our first speaker of the night, Evelyn Mantilla. Evelyn served in the Connecticut House of Representatives for 10 years. She is the first bisexual woman to serve in a state-level office in the entire country. Evelyn is now an amazing political consultant and the managing director of Grossman Solutions. So please give it up for Evelyn.
Thank you. Thank you so much. How could I possibly follow such a performance? And I'm going to give it my best try. My name is Evelyn Mantilla, and I use she, her pronouns. I am thrilled to be here with you. Nothing gets me more excited than to talk to our own folks about voting and about participating in the political process. I know that sometimes politics is not what people are all that interested in, or maybe they find it to be disappointing in some ways. However, nothing matters more than understanding in terms of politics, understanding how it affects our everyday lives. And that's why I'm really thrilled to talk to you here about all of this. Tell you a little bit of my story, and I hope that I do it in a way that really puts in front of you the reasons why every single vote really counts. The truth is that the first time I ran for office, I ran for city council, and I lost that race. I lost that race on a recount by 16 votes. So talk about every vote mattering. Well, I ran a second time, in this case for the state legislature, for state representative. And that time I lost again. I was challenging an incumbent that was very hard to beat, but it was someone who I really felt did not represent the community that I cared about the most. As you probably figured out by now, I come to you with a long list of identities of my own. And we need to always talk about how every individual really has a right to identify in any way possible that they really choose. I come to you as a Puerto Riqueña. I come to you as a mom. I come to you as a woman, a feminist, and I come to you as a queer representative in our community. Once I ran for the third time, I finally got elected. What happened is that in the second time that I ran and I challenged the incumbent, he won. But before he was able to get sworn in, he was convicted of voter fraud. So that meant he had to give up that seat, and it opened it up. And there was a special election in February of 1997. So we ran a third campaign, and we did it in the middle of winter, and we did it by going door to door and talking to people about the things that I really wanted to bring to the Capitol for them. And lo and behold, I got elected. I served for 10 wonderful years. It's been the job of my lifetime to be able to represent, especially a community that, like the one that I represented. And I represented a district in Hartford that was replete with many, many families of color, particularly Latinx families, and lots and lots of Puerto Rican families, many of them living in poverty. So I dealt with lots of issues on their behalf, and I was always so proud to do that. Now, let's talk about why we want you to vote. This is the title of today is Queer Out the Vote. And those of us who are still in politics, whether it's in the front lines or in the back, from the back perspective, running campaigns, and as I do, consulting with other candidates, it's so important to make sure that every voice in every community is counted. And I know that there are many disappointments along the way. I know, for example, that this year in particular, there is a lot of folks who are thinking, maybe I'm not going to vote. I'm so distraught by the way things are going. I feel like I'm not being represented. I feel like the country is going in the wrong direction. Well, that's exactly the reason why we need to be able to vote. And that's exactly the reason why we should learn how to make a plan to cast our vote and make sure we get it done. And furthermore, we have a responsibility, not just as civic participants, but we have a responsibility to get our friends, to get our family members, our loved ones to also come out and vote. So that's really my very, very quick story. The last part I'll tell you about that is how it happened that I came out publicly. And to this day, I still look upon that day as not just significant because I was the first openly bisexual woman in the entire country. Honestly, I didn't know that that was going to be the case. But really, what happened was that once I started in office, I realized pretty quickly that there was a part of me I wasn't putting out. I wasn't sharing with the people that I intended to represent. And on top of that, I was in a relationship with the woman who is now my wife of 22 years, Babette, and we were in the beginning stages of a wonderful relationship. And I really came to the decision that I needed to, not just for political purposes, but for personal purposes, come out. So I delivered a speech at the Gay Pride celebration of that year, and my words were, I am a bisexual woman in a loving, committed relationship with a woman. And so it remains. I'm still bi, I'm still proud, and I urge every one of you to think about it hard, make your own choices, look at the issues that matter to you, and come out and vote. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Evelyn. Every time I hear you talk, I just get so inspired by all you have to say. And you're really, truly one of my heroes. But before I let you go, I have one question for you.
Yes.
So you know what it's like to be the first to do something. And to all the young folks who might be watching this and who are scared of having to be the first, whether it's, the first transgender senator in the US Congress or, the first woman president, what would you like to say to them right now?
Here's what I would say. Look at the communities that you belong to and look at those communities and understand that there is a plethora of support from all manner of people, folks who are in your family, folks who are in your circles, folks who are in your community as a whole. And know that those that admire you, they may not be saying it all that openly, but those who know that it takes a great deal of courage to be the first, I promise you, they will come forward for you. And I promise you, they will have your back. So with that confidence, let's go ahead and let's be the first.
Thank you so much for being here tonight, and I hope you have a great, wonderful rest of the evening. And everyone, get out to vote, as we're all saying. Awesome. Thank you so much, Evelyn. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Lisa Loomis. Lisa is an activist, educator, and a mom. She serves on the Milford Board of Education and can speak to the power of representing her community in a local office. So let's hear for Lisa. Thank you so much.
Hi. What an honor to follow Evelyn. Her story is so inspiring, and thank you for hosting. It's actually the Middletown Board of Ed. It was correct. It was the Middletown Board of Ed. Yeah, so my story is that I was raised to be politically conscious and to not let any sort of injustice go by without doing anything about it. But as an adult, I followed national politics and voted in the federal elections and state elections, but I was not involved in local politics at all. I didn't see how they were really relevant to my life. And then the 2016 presidential election happened, and I had to look myself in the mirror afterward and really acknowledge that I hadn't done anything to stop Trump from winning. And I vowed that I had to get involved, and never again would a candidate that I supported lose without me being able to say I did everything I could to help that candidate. So I got involved in our local DTC meetings immediately. And from there, I learned that there were 2 open spots on the Board of Education in 2017. And knowing that at this point, I've been an educator for almost 20 years. And as a member of the LGBTQIA community who was not represented at all in our local government at that point, I knew that I was the right person for one of those spots. And I want to say to anyone who is thinking about running for office that you should absolutely do it. And the imposter syndrome is real, and RuPaul calls it your inner saboteur. But to be very frank, mediocre white men don't have that issue so much. So they're going to step up, and we need, someone said, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. We need people in our community to be able to be there to represent all of those people in our community who have very good reasons why they can't step up. So I won that election, and since then I've gotten even more involved in local politics. I participated in the Emerge program, and I recommend any woman who is considering running for office to check out the Emerge program. One of my takeaways from that was about the power and the potential of the local town committees, and that inspired me to run for chair. So I'm also chair of the Middletown Democratic Town Committee and working really hard to get our great progressive candidates elected, but also to strengthen our party by making it more inclusive. And my involvement in local politics has been one of the really most gratifying things in my life over the last few years. As dark as things have gotten at the federal level, and they've gotten so much darker than any of us, I think, could imagine. I've been able to look at Middletown and see the positive things that we're doing there and the very progressive candidates we've gotten elected and the positive work that they have done. We're doing meaningful police reform now. Our mayor created an anti-racism task force. There are so many good things happening in Middletown because we have been able to elect very progressive representation that hasn't been able to happen everywhere else. So I want to encourage people to vote not just at the federal and the state level, but get to know the people who are running for your local offices as well. And in these last 11 days before the election, all of these people are scrambling to get volunteers to do phone banking and to go do canvassing. And so, yes, absolutely vote. And if you can spare some time to help some good candidates, local candidates get elected, it's very, very well worth your time, and you will feel really good about it. And afterward, you'll get to see all the great things that those people are doing in office. And if you if you don't like what they're doing, hold them accountable, and you should run for office yourself. Be the change you want to see.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lisa. I wish we could all be here to give you a warm round of applause for that really inspiring story. And I think it's so important to hear from people like you who are, running for office in local elections and really making sure that your communities or local communities are able to make the change that we wish could happen all across the country. So thank you so much for speaking to that and for really sharing your story here. And my question for you is, as an educator and as a mom, you work with young folks all the time. So what do you want kids and young adults in your community to know about the importance of voting?
Yeah, the generation now of young people is so incredibly inspiring. They have really stepped up in ways that other generations haven't, and are really leading the way in being incredible activists. And it needs to happen because our environment and our country are going to be in your hands, and you voting will help shape the future that you have. And so if I were 18, 19, 20 years old, I feel like it's even more important for you to vote than someone who is 60, 70, 80 years old, because it's your future. And you young people are disenfranchised in so many ways, that this is one way that you can make your voice heard. So absolutely, please go vote.
Right. Thank you so much, Lisa. That was really perfectly said, and absolutely fabulous. And it's been such a joy to hear from Evelyn and from Lisa. So if you're at home, hype them up in the comments. We love, getting those feedback on Facebook Live and on YouTube, and to see that you're following along with us tonight. So Election Day is Tuesday, November 3rd, which is only a little more than a week away, which is crazy. This year has flown by so fast, and the elections in the United States are such a long process compared to literally everywhere else in the world. So it's kind of crazy that we only have 10 days or so to look forward to Election Day. So let's talk now about making steps for a plan to vote. So number one, you have to register. And if you haven't already, you can still register by October 27th, as we said. So that's next Tuesday. You can register at the following link, voterregistration.ct.gov, and keep your registration up to date. Just remember that if you had a last name change, if you moved at all recently, you want to make sure your registration is up to date. So check on that. Even if you moved within the same town, your polling place could be affected by your voter registration. Number 2, check your registration status. So as I said, even if you've already registered, it's really important to check your registration status to make sure everything is up to date. And you can do that at the following link that should be popping up here on the screen. Yes, I see it. Awesome. Thank you so much for our behind the scenes folks making this all happen technologically. Number 3. So are you going to vote by absentee ballot or are you going to vote in person? You can check the status of your ballot if you signed up for an absentee ballot, where it's been mailed to, and more at the same place that you look up your registration status. So you can still go to the following link, you can put in all of your information, and you can see, has my ballot been mailed to my PO box or my home address? Was it sent to the right place? So on and so forth. And then you can make sure that that is all up to date and ready in the system. And then finally, if you've already sent in your ballot, awesome. Again, you can continue to check on the status of your ballot at the same link. Thank you for voting. Please make sure that, given everything going on with the pandemic, with COVID-19, with attacks on the US Postal Service, that you're making sure that your ballot is received and is counted. So use the following link to do that. And if you're planning to vote in person, like I am, you can use the following link to confirm your polling place. It's really important that you make sure that you show up to the right place at the right time when it's time for you to go vote. Polling places, again, they change every election cycle every now and then. So we really want to make sure that you have all of the correct, up-to-date information. And with that, you're going to get sick of me talking about voter information, but I could do so literally all night. But I won't, because we have an amazing, amazing special guest, Carrie Ashton, a badass queer woman in her own right, and she's going live for us from a gig tonight. She answered a couple of questions about why she's voting, which she said that she's voting for so many reasons, and really emphasized the fact that women in the past didn't have the right to vote. And so that's really, really important. So I really appreciated that answer, and that she wants to use her art to give people a space to relax separate from politics. So we're having a few technical difficulties, so I'm just gonna hold you on here and skip forward a little bit so that we can get Carrie Ashton live and ready to go. I apologize for all of that, just got the notification. So if you're planning to vote in person, let's talk about this now. So what you need to do is check on the following. So first and foremost, knowing what your polling place is. I have had folks tell stories about how they showed up to the polling place that they had went to in the last election cycle only 2 years prior, and it was changed underneath them. They couldn't, find the registration. And now they went, round back and forth trying to figure out where to vote. So really, really, really make sure you check where you can go and vote and what your local polling place is. Do that in advance. Number 2, how do you plan to get there? Crazy times right now. So if you can walk, highly recommend taking a nice healthy walk down to your polling place. Can you safely get a ride? Do you have someone who's in your quarantine circle, so on and so forth, your little pod that's able to drive you to your polling place? Do you have a car of your own? If you plan to take public transportation, do you have a plan to do that safely, wearing a mask and staying 6 feet apart from everyone? Finally, we want to urge you to remember to wear a mask to your polling place and to remember to stay 6 feet apart from others as you go and vote. Because while it's important that we all exercise our right to vote, it's also important that we're taking precautions to prevent the spread of COVID-19. So we're going to give another minute and let Carrie get all set up. But we're really excited to introduce you to Carrie Ashton, a singer-songwriter who will take over from here for an amazing special performance. So just one moment. I wish I could play elevator music, but I can't. But thank you all for being so patient. So awesome. Someone just commented that town clerk offices have special extended hours to complete absentee ballots. Amazing, really helpful information, and we really appreciate it. Yes, if you have any tips, any issues with voting that you want to troubleshoot in the comments, we're all a community here at the New Haven Pride Center and across the state of Connecticut, and it's important that everyone make sure that their vote is counted. So if you've had any problems, your absentee ballot was sent to the wrong place, you still haven't received it even though you requested it in July, please let us know. We're here to help you out with all of that. This is a crazy election, and forces of luck and sometimes by force and manipulation are preventing people from getting out to exercise their right to vote. So really, it's important that you come together with your community and you share your experience of voting. Someone also just reminded me that Carrie previously performed for the International Festival of Arts and Ideas, and has also been an amazing performer at all of our women's socials with the New Haven Pride Center, and performed at our in-person event last October 10th. Yeah, and she seems to be ready to go live. So give it up for Carrie Ashton.
Are we there? Oh God, don't do that. Here we are. I think we're live. Hi everyone. Hold on. We're actually just starting the gig, so give me 1 second. I'm not sure if y'all can hear me, but thank you so much for having me tonight. I really, really, really appreciate it. We're gonna sing a song called Joey to start off. I get so tempted. I'm ready to so I will say it anymore. I'm standing and watch you find your secret book. Though I used to wonder why I used to crouch it out to try. Still sometimes I get on strange pain inside. Oh, Julie, it hurt me so am I. I'll save all my money on this, for you, but I never seem to be with you. I didn't mean to be with you. When you said I scared you, oh, I guess you scared me too. Oh, we got hanging once before, and now the one closed the door. Somewhere down there, I passed that over before. Oh, to be honest, every ever. Oh, yeah.
Thank you guys very much. Welcome to South Kings. My name is Carrie, Ashton. I'm also simultaneously doing a live feed right now, so if I look like I'm just kind of staring over here, that's why. And friends, we're going to do one more song for you guys before we let you go and move on with the program. This is a song off my record, Invincible, and it's called Save Me. Driving home on a Tuesday afternoon, I feel the sunlight shining down on my face. The windows down, the wind is blowing through my head. Once it feels like a night when it's racing. I don't know about the changes I've been through, but I know if I got you, oh, you're right. I don't know just where this road might lead, but if I got you with me, oh, it'll be alright. Hey, baby, you know I'm not perfect. Won't you tell me that you love me again? You know that I'm loving me as well. So don't stop believing things that people say. Sometimes I need to see them from myself. You really wanna save me. Sometimes the answers, they don't always come up clear. They don't always just a beautiful night as you. And if I take a little time to work it out, then I will know without a doubt everyone hurts now. I don't know about the changes I've been through. Oh, I know if I got you, then you're right. I don't know just where this road might lead, but if I got you with me, oh, it'll be alright. Baby, you know I'm not perfect, so won't you tell me that you love me anyway? You know that I'm loving me as well, so don't stop believing things that you say. Sometimes I need to see them from myself. That's what I've seen. When you look at me, I'm just one that you can cut me down the sides. You feel now I know I can't let you go. I know you're right by my side. Driving home on a Tuesday afternoon, watch that sunlight shining down on your face, yeah. Baby, you know I'm not perfect, so won't you tell me that you love me anyway? You know that I'm loving me as well, so don't stop believing things that you say. Come on, baby, I swear I'm trying harder, yeah. Show you what your love means to me. So give me just a little long. Show you where this love can really be. Sometimes I need to see that from myself. You'll be the one who will save me. Thank you guys very much.
Right. Thank you so much, Carrie, for an amazing performance. We really appreciate having you here, and it was absolutely amazing to hear your beautiful voice. And as you said, that music is a place that you turn to relax and take your mind off of things. And while it's so important to be politically engaged, I think it's also really crucial to make sure that we're all practicing self-care right now. So I really appreciate that. And as Carrie said, I think we all need to reiterate the fact that so many of us watching tonight, participating tonight, couldn't vote not that long ago. And that true voting rights are still yet to be won in so many places where voter suppression is really active. So we really have to be mindful about how much of a privilege it is to be able to vote in this election cycle and countless others. Because even though voting doesn't solve everything, it is such an important way of making our voices heard in our government and elsewhere. So thank you so much, Carrie, for speaking to that point and for lending your amazing voice to this event and giving us all a space to relax in. So I just wanted to reiterate some of these, voting info. So first and foremost, again, make sure that you're registered. You have until October 27th, so you still got a couple of days. If you procrastinated, if you really were hesitant about voting in this election, if you just realized, oh crap, I moved down the street, not that long ago and forgot to update my registration, or, across town, whatever, forgot to update my registration, please just make sure that is all up to date. If you've requested your absentee ballot, you can go online and check, where it's been mailed to, if there's any delays, if there's any errors. If you sent in your absentee ballot already or dropped it off at one of those drop boxes, you can also go online and check the status of your ballot. So please make sure that, you're taking the care and being mindful about anything that could happen to your ballot to really make sure that your vote is counted in this process. And then finally, if you plan to vote in person, ask yourself, how am I going to get to my polling place? Am I 100% sure where it is? Can I go safely? Do I have a mask? How am I going to prevent, the spread of COVID-19, infecting myself, possibly infecting others, so on and so forth, as you approach the voting process. So keep that in mind. Election day is November 3rd, is just around the corner, but you still have time to register to vote to make sure everything is in order and to make sure your voice is heard at the ballot box. So please do so if you can. All right. And with that, let's talk about representation. So women make up less than about 15% of elected offices in the United States, and queer women even less so. However, we know that over 1,000 LGBTQ candidates are running for office across the country right now in this election cycle, and that is amazing news. And I'd like to now introduce Len Patty Rousseau, who knows about increasing representation in politics more than almost anybody, and is an amazing mentor of mine and someone who I absolutely adore. Oh my God, your background, so perfect. So, is the executive director of the campaign school at Yale. She previously served as a leader of Love Makes a Family, an organization dedicated to marriage equality and family equality in Connecticut. So please give a warm welcome to Patti. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Oh, I'm thrilled. I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for thinking of me and including me in this. It's so important. And let me just say that, of course, I'm biased. Miranda's fabulous. She's one of our grads, one of our rock star grads at the school. And, it's amazing and not surprising to see our incredible grads and the way in which they are leading in the world. And so I'm really, really thrilled to be here. So the campaign school at Yale, which until January was the women's campaign school at Yale for 24 years. Back in January, we changed our name to the campaign school at Yale because we wanted to make sure that non-binary individuals felt welcomed at our school. And we're seeing more and more interest among non-binary individuals and men who are running campaigns for women and have never run as a woman before, and know that there are challenges that women face that they don't even have to think about. And so they want to be the best campaign manager that they can be. And so they too have been coming to our school. Our school has been around for 25 years. Last year, 2019, we celebrated our 25th anniversary of our premier 5-day intensive at Yale Law School. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we had to cancel our 5-day for the first time in 25 years. And so we had to quickly pivot to providing online campaign training for all of our grads who were running for office, as well as for those who were running campaigns. And so we created a series back in March called Campaigning in the New Normal. And almost every week we would have a Zoom presentation provided by our exemplary faculty from both sides of the aisle. We are a nonpartisan, issue-neutral political campaign training program. And so we opened it up not only for our grads who were running for office, but also for anybody who found themselves in the interesting predicament of running in a pandemic, since none of us had done that before. We also decided early on that we were going to provide this for free. The service that we were providing was essential to the success of everyone running for office. And so I'm really proud of the work and the accessibility of our work. We literally have had thousands and thousands of individuals join us from across the country. Again, that is the beauty of Zoom technology. So I wanted to invite you all on Saturday, November 14th, to a Zoom presentation that we're having from 10 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's our one-day training called the Campaign School at Yale, The Basics. If you have a newly discovered passion for politics, and you're currently, involved politically for the first time, and you're excited about it and want to learn more, this is for you. So if you're thinking about maybe running for office someday, join us. You want to become active in a political campaign, join us. If you simply want to be a more effective leader on an issue you feel passionately about in your community, join us. It's really for everybody. If you go on our website, and if Miranda, if you could provide this maybe in the chat, tcsyale.org. That's tcsyale.org, and sign up for our newsletter. Within this weekend, we are going to get the registration information out, and you can sign up and register. You can join us for the whole day. You can join us for part of the day, but just come. Just come. I think you'll really be inspired and energized, and you will have a clearer path after you spend some time with us to determine whether or not this is for you. Plan your vote. Plan your vote. November 3rd is right around the corner. It's important that you vote. To Miranda's point, it's not going to solve all the problems of the world, but it's a step in the right direction. Change radiates up, and we are that change. Altogether, we are that change. So I hope that this evening will inspire you to inspire others to vote. It's the first question I ask everyone. Have you voted, or you're planning to vote? What's your plan? I don't know. Let me help you make a plan to vote. When is it again? It's November 3rd. Oh, it's coming up. It's soon. Yes. So making a plan to vote is really, really important. The exciting thing is, because of all the absentee ballots that have already been cast, over 500,000 people in Connecticut have already voted, which has never happened before in the history of our state. So I'm really, really proud and excited about that. It's your voice and it's your vote, and it's important that you use it. What I like to say about people who don't vote, you don't get to complain. You don't, because you've given that up by not voting. I also wanted to share with you a poem that is really inspiring me each and every day to stay energized, to get my rest, so that I can continue to inspire our grads who are in the trenches right now, working that last 11 days till Election Day. It's a poem by L.R. Nost, and it reads, "Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break, and all things can be mended, not with time, but with intention. So go, lead intentionally, Love intentionally. The broken world waits in darkness for the light that is you. Thank you, Miranda.
Oh, thank you so much, Patti, for being here tonight. I really appreciate you and all that you have to say and the wisdom that you have to offer. And I highly recommend to anyone watching, yes, sign up for that one-day training. I am so proud to be an alum of the campaign school at Yale. And I learned so much in such a short span of time, like my brain almost imploded. So thank you for being here tonight. Patti, one question for you just before we go, which is that as an amazing supporter to the LGBTQ plus community and to so many other marginalized communities, I wanted to ask you this, which is how do you seek to champion representation for women across backgrounds and identities? And how do you work to uplift women who are different from yourself?
I like to think that we've created a culture, an open culture at the campaign school at Yale, where everyone feels important, valued, and loved, because that's how I like to feel, important, valued, and loved. And I'm sure we've had those experiences in our life when we did not feel that way. And so since you are, again, an amazing grad of our school, I hope you felt that way when you were with us. And I hope that you take that spirit in your life and the work that you do.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much. Sorry for cutting out there. Some like technical difficulties.
No, it's okay.
Thank you so much for being here tonight, and I appreciate you tremendously. And I hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you.
And about everyone. All right. Take care, Patti. Awesome. So with that, I'd like to now introduce our final amazing speaker, Tiara Mack. Tiara is running for state senate in Rhode Island's District 6, where she defeated the incumbent Democratic candidate to land her spot on the ticket in an epic landslide. Tiara is a youth organizer and champion of reproductive justice and LGBTQ rights. And from what I see, there's some slight technical difficulties in her logging on. So before we welcome Tiara, let's talk one final moment about getting out to vote. And I'm just going to take a moment to tell my story here. I'm 22. I'm a bisexual woman. I am non-binary. I have an amazing partner who is from a completely different country from my own and not able to vote in this beautiful country that she is living in. I'm Jewish, and that informs my political identity. I come from a sort of, poorish working class to middle class background, and I am a survivor of partner violence and sexual violence. And all of these identities, as I think our amazing speakers have spoken to, have really informed my politics, my views of the world, and my decision to vote in this election. And I know that, as I've said over and over again, voting isn't going to solve all of our problems, but I know that I need to vote because I need to be able to make my voice heard, that I can't be silenced when abusive people are in power, and that I cannot be silenced at the ballot box or in any other form of my political organizing and my political career. So I am getting out to vote in this election cycle because it is my third time being able to vote in a major election cycle, third time since 2016, and I want to make sure that my voice is heard. And I, welcome you all to really consider the ways in which people try to silence you and how you can reclaim that power back at the ballot box. And with that, I'm going to just briefly reintroduce Tiara. I apologize for all of the technical difficulties tonight, and thank you so much for your patience to everyone watching. So Tiara Mack is, again, running for state senate in Rhode Island's District 6, where she defeated the incumbent Democratic candidate to land her spot on the ticket in an epic landslide. Tiara is a youth organizer and champion of reproductive justice and LGBTQ rights, and an overall amazing, amazing human being. So give it up for Tiara.
Hi, it's me and my bunny. We are co-quarantined together in Narragansett, Rhode Island, because this week my roommate is isolating for COVID-19, but I'm glad I found a hotel that allowed me and little Bun Bun to have some time together As a young queer Black woman running for office for the first time during a global pandemic, it's been really hard. But I think that's when our voice is even more important. A lot of the issues that are up front for a lot of people are only exacerbated by the pandemic, but they did not start because of the pandemic. And I came into this journey as running for office because I knew that there needed to be more people like myself who come from formerly low-income backgrounds, who are Black, who are brown, and who are formerly low income and who have those diverse experiences that are made up of our rich communities. We don't just need lawyers and folks who do not have the lived experiences of the community at the State House making decisions. Being an activist for reproductive health rights in the state of Rhode Island and now sometimes in Connecticut has really shown me that we do not have people in our communities who know the stories who know what is necessary in order to have rich and vibrant communities, especially when it comes to reproductive health rights and justice. I grew up in the conservative Christian South, where I signed an abstinence pledge when I was in the 6th grade, where I said I would have my mom, my best friends, and my future boyfriend keep me accountable to abstinence. And that is not a reality that many folks have. I did not receive comprehensive, culturally specific or queer inclusive sexual health education. I went to a college in a super liberal area. I went to Brown University. In my first day on campus, we had women's peer leaders and residential counselors who were handing out condoms and talking about sex and pleasure. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm from the South. Like, what is this heathen institution? Like, where are we? And so that was really jarring. It was a really jarring experience for me. And so I realized that I needed to activate my voice and talk about agency, talk about authenticity, especially being a low-income queer Black person at an elite institution and being one of the only peers who look like me. And that's why I started teaching sexual health education to high school students through a program on my campus, later on working as a public policy intern at Planned Parenthood, and now running for office. It's been a core of my work. The ability to talk about my own body and my autonomy has unlocked the ability to talk about what it means to seek justice in our communities, to talk about Black liberation, to talk about queer liberation, how that's all a central part of understanding our bodies and our narratives and our place in our communities. I also proudly ran on a platform that was about Black liberation and queer liberation, and that was about 100% being authentically myself as a young queer Black woman running for a state Senate position. And along the way, a lot of folks said, well, why didn't you run for city council first? Or more people start on like the city council and then go to state rep and then state senate. It's like, I know exactly the type of change I want to make, and the type of change I want to make does not come with creating better roads, filling in potholes. It comes with looking at the entire system and making sure that we have legislation that represents the stories and narratives of people who are on the ground, people who are Black and queer, who aren't typically in the limelight of politics, whose stories aren't represented in legislation. So it is really important that however you decide to activate your voice, whether it's going to an organizing meeting with the local grassroots org, whether it's going to a city council meeting or to a state house hearing for a bill that's important to you, or whether it's talking and having coffee with your state senator and your elected officials. That is one way that you can activate your voice, knowing and doing your down ballot research. A lot of people beforehand vote right down the ballot for every single Democrat, but every single Democrat does not have progressive ideals. Every single person on the quote unquote left does not believe in a just environment for everyone. So yeah, that is a little bit more about me. Happy to answer questions about my journey to running for office, how to get involved, and how I started getting involved in my local community and now on the state level. Woo-woo.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Tiara. So you really stayed true to your values while running for office, even when it may have seemed risky, especially for the seat that you were going for and going up against an incumbent candidate who was a white man. So what I want to ask is, can you speak to the importance of really representing yourself and your beliefs on a campaign, and what it means to be true to yourself while pursuing an elected office?
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things I got a lot of criticism, and I had a lot of people ask me. The first line I would say when I knocked on someone's door was, "Hi, my name is Tiara, and I'm a queer Black woman running for state Senate." And they'd be like, "Well, why do you need to mention that you're Black? We can see that." Or why do you need to mention that you're queer? Like, we can, like, what does that mean? Like, we can see that. That's not important. It really matters, like XYZ. And I'm like, but my identity is important to me. Having an explicitly and proudly queer Black person in an office is a political statement, whether or not people are uncomfortable with acknowledging that queer identity is political, Black identity is political. All of those identities will always be political. And so when you proudly exclaim those identities and people get a little uncomfortable, leaning into, well, why is it that we can't proudly say that I'm a queer person running for office to be the first LGBTQ state senator in the state of Rhode Island at 26 years old? Like, isn't that weird? Like, shouldn't we be having more conversations about why we've created systems and structures that prevent Black, brown, low income, queer people from entering into a statewide office? Shouldn't we be having more conversations about why we don't have more explicitly queer narratives and people in positions of power? So leaning into that, also being left as hell. Making sure that everyone knows, like, I came in saying, we're not just defunding the police. It is the first step to abolition. We don't just believe in like socialist ideals. We are building community safety nets that are literally going to put money back into back into the pockets of everyone. We are not even just left of center. We are the left, and proudly proclaiming this is where I stand. And I'm doing it because I have a love for the community and an understanding of what needs to be done to create stronger communities through policy.
Absolutely. That was beautifully put. And thank you so much for your time, for joining us tonight. It was a real pleasure to hear from you. And honestly, it's so amazing to have begun with someone like Evelyn, who is the first LGBTQ person and first bisexual woman in the country to represent folks at the state level, and to have you, who will be the first in Rhode Island, hopefully, knocking on wood, to do that in your state. So really, really amazing to have you here, and to speak to the importance of voting and of representation of, values at all levels of government. So thank you so much for joining us today, Tiara. I hope you have a great evening.
Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, and good luck with the quarantining situation. Hope all is well there. It seems like your bunny is very happy. Fantastic. So before we go, as I promised, the amazing Versatile is going to bless us with another poem of hers. So let's give a warm welcome to Versatile Poetiq. Woo!
Yay! Wow. Some incredible people on here. I just want to say, the people on here, I don't know if we're on an email list. Can people put your emails, your social media in the chat so we all can link and network, if that's okay? That would be really beautiful, because, whoa, got some heavy hitters on this. Just saying, I'm just honored to be here. And again, before I quickly share this poem, utilize your voice, tell your story, because again, people should have behaved better, but not only that, your story could be helping people and you don't even realize it. And there's a lot of people who feel alone. Maybe all of us at some point in our lives, you feel alone. The world's a big place. You're not alone, okay? No matter what you're going through, what you're dealing with, you might feel alone, but you're not alone. And I've noticed healing is self-work, but it's also the people. It's people coming together that helps. And so people come together to vote. Use your voice, okay? It's very, very important. And again, people fought and people died for your right to vote. So why not participate? You feel good, like when you're a part of something. And again, I know there's the naysayers. Oh, don't vote. It's not going to change anything. That's their business. Not everyone, the world's too big, is going to be on the same page. But shout out to all those who vote. Please, let's get the hate that's in the office out of the office. So this poem is called Me. I've been performing this poem for 10 years. I wrote this in college when I attended the University of Hartford. So with this poem, I really hope that you can learn something about yourselves, and I hope you can learn something about me. To even try to depict me, do me a favor, grab a Dutch with flavor. I'll break up the words and roll the knowledge. Now you pull the intellect. Wait, hold it. Feel the stimulation and blow the poetry. Now that you've inhaled this poetic high, let's give it a try. What do you wonder when you see a woman living not by what supposed to be? 5'8", long hair, thick thighs, little booty, and brown skin lay under the blankets of materialism that covers my exterior and traps my interior. I'm a foreign lesson, unknown to you, so approach me with caution. My mind is dense and hard a beating nightmare. Athletic, ambitious, and outgoing are traits that don't create me. I'm a fiend for pulling a trigger and blowing away ignorance. I despise the fools that label themselves because society said so. Don't define me, because definitions are a best friend to Webster. And don't try to look for the 411 of me, because Wikipedia won't tell you the full truth. My swag busts through like a good, at least I'm thinking, what? My attitude doesn't reflect what they see, but what they know in me. I'm a rebel to the rules and a conformist to the abnormal. Most eyes that are set upon me see image of a male. Why? They say men wear this and women wear that. Claimed who? Well, I wear those and this, so I am this and that together. My uniqueness is fed as different, but swallowed as judgment. And I have a personality that isn't personable, I must confess. An emotion you can never configure. It's no advertisement. You see, women snicker when I pass by because they're intrigued by my mystery and trapped by the closet. Men beam when I walk by, showing they're lit because they think I got in between their woman's split. I laugh because if my clothes were off, those men would hit. Now let's penetrate a little deeper. You roll the knowledge this time. People like me get killed for their existence. And when I die, I'm going out smiling, knowing I was me. You see, many wear masks because they're horrified by who they really are. Now, please wash down what I said with a glass of sense, because we got to make a comment to the people so they understand. My sexuality isn't my preference. It's only my resource. What is me? Poetry is me. Music is me. A white rose is me. Genesis 6 is me. Darfur is me. 4 little girls in Alabama is me. Matthew Shepard is me. Troy Davis is me. Trayvon Martin is me. Eric Garner is me. Mike Brown is me. Alton Sterling is me. Philando Castile is me. Tamir Rice is me. Sandra Bland is me. Breonna Taylor is me. Ahmaud Arbery is me. Jacob Blake is me. George Floyd is me. Anybody brutalized by the police that didn't make the national news is me. Black Lives Matter is me. Donald Trump is not me. Sandy Hook Elementary School is me. Pulse Nightclub is me. Charleston, South Carolina is me. Las Vegas, Nevada is me. New Parkland, Florida is me. New Haven Pride Center is me. Queer woman out to vote is me. Love is me. Pain is me. War is me. Terror is me. The woman in New York City that holds the torch is me. Discover something. Oh, it is seen. It's felt. It's known. And it's lived. Who am I? You all are me. My name is Versatile Poetiq, and thank you so much for allowing me to versatile your poetic.
Thank you so much for being here. Wow, I have no words. I don't know how to follow that. Just thank you so much for your amazing talent. Someone just commented, thank you for your gift of work.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you. I really, want to listen to that poem every day for the rest of my life. It's so powerful, and speaks really to the spirit of what we wanted to capture here, which is that we all have to make our voices heard and find our community and find our people and protect those that we love, because we all have to be here for each other. We're all connected, so thank you.
And thank you. It's like I said, I've been performing it for 10 years.
It's perfect.
And what's sad about that poem, sometimes I can go on and it continue to add to that list, if that makes sense. Clearly there's certain lines memorized. I wasn't always saying Agent Fire is not me, but it's relevant because of what we're dealing with the last 4 years. Again, utilize your voice. Thank you, Hunter. I see you, Hunter Cole. Thank you. Please, again, connect all of us if you can, Miranda. You are a beautiful human being. Thank you. You're so young. Miranda's only 22, showing out, people. Okay, I'm 33, like Jesus Christ. I'm trying to still get there. I'm just saying, Patrick, shout out to you. Y'all know I love you. All y'all got to do, reach out to me. I'm always down for the cause. And hopefully when things get better, we can do all of this in person. But yes, vote. Utilize your voice. And let's get the hate. I'm saying, let's get the hate out of office, at least. Okay. The blatant in your face hate. Okay. Seriously, people. There's no, okay, listen, that's all I gotta say. Get the hate out of office.
All right. Love you, darling. All right, take care. And yes, email me, women@newhavenpridecenter.org, if you want to get in touch with any of our amazing panelists, if you want to get in touch with me to co-host an event like this, if you're thinking about running for office, especially if you're a queer woman, let me know. We're happy to support you on every step of your journey, and so excited to facilitate these connections. It is really a shame that we can't all be here together in person and letting you network and mingle amongst yourselves. So that is my job now. Email me if you have any inkling of desire to get in touch with any of our panelists. So please just let me know at any time. And with that, I'm going to introduce Patrick, the Executive Director of the New Haven Pride Center, for a quick statement. Hello,
Internet. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Miranda, for always putting together some of the most thoughtful panels and bringing together incredible women to, get people out to vote and have real conversations about where we need to go. I am here to do a quick pitch. As some of you may or may not know, I'm the Executive Director of the New Haven Pride Center. We have been very fortunate that throughout COVID, we have received tremendous support from a variety of sources, including a competitive national grant, which we are allowed to match if we can raise some money by December 31st. So I am here to say, if you enjoyed what you saw and enjoy what we do, please consider making a donation. Every dollar makes a difference, and every dollar gets matched. So $1 becomes $2. So if you'd like to make a donation to support the center, you can do so by going to newhavenpridecenter.org/donate. Or if you are one of those fancy people that are like, I don't know how to use that kind of technology, but I have Venmo, I have Cash App. We take both of those as well. So you can make a donation at New Haven Pride Center or $ New Haven Pride Center. Again, every donation that is made is matched and makes the incredible programs like what Miranda did this evening possible. We are really excited and looking forward to 2021, despite COVID and everything else that's going on. And fortunately, this grant that we got, that if we match it, is going to be a big part of expanding what we do and how we do it programmatically. So Again, thank you everyone for being here tonight. Don't forget to register to vote if you are not registered and get out the vote. We took the whole staff is taking the day off that day to go work our polls and make sure everybody's out voting. So thank you so much, Miranda, and I'm going to leave it with you for the final word.
Thank you so much, Patrick. And, as I said, I'm a queer woman. I'm a survivor. I'm Jewish. I come from a working class background. And I know exactly how important it is to vote and to make sure our communities are represented in all levels of government and beyond. So take the time to get out and vote, and also take the time to think about what you're going to do after Election Day. And, regardless of what the results are, whether they make you happy or they don't, think about how you're going to represent yourself and your communities in government and in political organizing and beyond. So please make your plan to vote. You can still register by October 27th. You can send in your absentee ballot, or you can get out to the polls on Election Day, like I am. Just do so safely in light of COVID-19. So thank you all for joining us today, for your positivity, for your warmth. Again, if you want to get in touch with me, email me, women@newhavenpridecenter.org. I am always happy to respond to you and get things going. And with that,